The 0-2 pitch. He got it! Against all odds, against all comers, the Braves are the champions of the National League East for the 4th straight year.
That was the official. Oh my God. Oh. That was the official sound last night of the Philadelphia Phillies being eliminated from playoff contention. This marks a full decade since the Phillies have last seen the postseason. They currently have the second longest active playoff drought behind the Mariners, who have 20, and that could be broken this season if they find a way to continue and make the playoffs. They're playing very well right now. They are currently tied for the last wild card spot heading into the final weekend of the season. But more about the Phillies. They just didn't bring their bats to the series. It's simple as that. I mean, your best player, your MVP caliber player, goes 0 for 12 in a series. You're going to have a hard time winning games. I mean, the Braves pitched excellent. All credit to the Braves. The Braves just were a better team. They pitched so well, not only to Bryce Harper, just to the rest of the Phillies. I mean, it was amazing. I think the Braves have a very solid shot of making some noise in the postseason. They're going to face the Brewers. Yes, they're going to play the Brewers in the first round. I mean, obviously, I would have liked to see the Phillies get in. It's tough. It sucks. But I'm just used to it at this point. I mean, it's a Philly team. They disappoint 99% of the time. I feel like once every so often we get a nut from the tree, and like when the Eagles win the Super Bowl or when the Phillies won the World Series when I was 5 years old. So it's tough, but I'm officially on the believe train. I would like to see the Mariners do well just because I like to cheer for the underdog. And I've been to the Mariners Stadium. Really nice stadium, by the way. I got a tour of it and everything. It's a really nice stadium. It's very high tech. They do a good job of commemorating not only their broadcasters but their former players. It's a really cool stadium. They also have crickets there. Like, you can eat legit crickets. I actually did. I ate the whole container at once, down the hatch. I actually have the video of it. You can't really tell. I mean, you might be able to hear like one crunch or something in the video for the listeners who are listening to the audio version, but the YouTube version, you guys are going to get to see the video. So here it is.
Grasshoppers. Let's go. Ready? Let's go. Let's go. Grasshoppers. 3, 2, 1. Down the hatch. Oh, no. Oh. Let's see it. Open your mouth. Open your mouth.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I thought they were pretty good, actually. It felt a little weird, like having the legs get stuck in your teeth and stuff, but I thought they tasted pretty good. They were really seasoned, though. There are a lot of seasoning on them. I mean, you kind of have to, because, like, I don't know what plain crickets taste like. I've only ever had seasoned ones, but I definitely would try them again. Yeah, they weren't bad. They were pretty good. Enough about crickets and different foods. Let's talk about the NFL a bit. So I didn't get to watch much of the game last night between the Bengals and the Jaguars because I was watching the Phillies break my heart again. But I heard both quarterbacks played pretty decent. Trevor Lawrence apparently had a great first half, and they dominated Cincinnati. And Joe Burrow took over in the second half. One thing I did see was Urban Meyer, at the end of the half, went for it, up 2 scores, and they were in a solid, comfortable field goal range, and he went for it instead. Which, I mean, I'm always big on you gotta do, like, I'm always big on taking the extra chance, but, I mean, oh my God. They were at the 1-yard line and went for it instead of taking the 18-yard field goal. They ended up losing by 3. When you're on the road and you're struggling, having a tough season to start, you can't leave points on the board, especially an 18-yard field goal. You can't. It's with a very good kicker. Josh Lambo is a very good kicker. You can't leave points on the board like that. It's just not how, like, you're not going to win games. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he had 2 touchdowns, including a rushing touchdown. It's not Josh Lambo anymore. I'm sorry. It's right. But either way, I don't see an NFL kicker missing an 18-yarder. I mean, it's happened, but it's not something you can bank on. Let's look at the numbers, because from what I saw, Trevor Lawrence played pretty well. Okay, I mean 7 of 24 and he had a touchdown. James Robinson played very well. He had 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence did have a rushing touchdown. I mean, he didn't play bad. He didn't throw picks. He didn't turn the ball over. I don't believe. No, I don't see. Yeah, he didn't turn the ball over. They just couldn't put points on the board in the second half. They left points on the board in the first half. That was just a rookie NFL coaching error by a rookie NFL coach. I respect the choice to go for it. You're on the 1-yard line. You're on the road. You want to capitalize as much as you can. But at the same time, that goes from a 2-score to a 3-score game. That's huge. That is a huge difference. I could see it if they would have stayed up 2 scores, but you're changing the amount of they would have needed a whole nother scoring drive just to be able to at least tie the game. So, it's just tough. Joe Burrow, I heard, played very well. Oh yeah, 348 yards, and yeah, he was on my fantasy bench and he did pretty good, and he got me a lot of points on the bench, but didn't start him. I mean, I have Josh Allen is starting over him, so I don't regret that. Tyler Boyd, I did play him in fantasy. 9 catches, 118 yards. And what about CJ? I'm going to mispronounce his name. Uzumoa. That's how you pronounce it. CJ Uzumoa. 2 touchdowns. I guess Joe Burrow. I mean, I feel like a lot of the younger quarterbacks like throwing to their tight ends. Like Jalen Hurts leaned a lot on Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz last year. Tua loves Mike Gesicki. I mean, Joe Burrow seems to love CJ Uzumoa. Sorry. I'm not very good at pronouncing things. I try. But yeah, Joe Burrow, I mean, from what I'm seeing, he looked excellent last night. He looked like he was able to extend plays. He didn't make a lot of poor decisions. I just don't know what the issue was in the first half. Whatever. I'm gonna watch more in depth into the game this weekend, probably today at some point. But I'll talk about it more on my recap next week, on my Tuesday or Wednesday episode next week. But let's roll through. We will talk about a lot of people are looking forward to hearing this list. My top 5 MVP candidates heading into week 4 of the NFL season. Oh, man. Oh, man. Did I say top 4? I meant top 5. I'm sorry. Top 5 MVP candidates. A lot has changed over the last week. And also, it's early in the season, so it's going to change a lot quicker and a lot more frequently. But let's just roll right into it. At number 5, I have the guy who was number 1 on my list last week, Patrick Mahomes. And I know he didn't have the greatest game, but I know that first pick was not his fault. It hit the guy right in the chest. And he still is playing with a horrendous run game and a offensive line that is underperforming. He's 3rd in the league in touchdowns. He's top 5 in the league in yards. And he's the best player on, let's be honest, do we really think the Chiefs are going to be a bad team this year? Or do we think the Chiefs are just going to end up getting their stuff together and making a run because it is still the Chiefs? And like I said on Tuesday, they added Josh Gordon. That's another weapon for him. So, I mean, I'm keeping him in my top 5. And yes, he is over Dak Prescott, who is currently 6 in my rankings, just for the Cowboys fans that decide to send me texts about that. Dak Prescott is still not a top 5 MVP candidate to me. Do I think Dak Prescott could be? Absolutely. Dak Prescott is playing very well. I just think there's 5 guys that have a better case for MVP than him right now. And let's roll into my number 4, Tom Brady. Tom Brady had a very good game, and they still lost. He's second in the league in yards. He's first in the league in touchdowns. The only thing that's keeping Tom Brady back is that they lost last week, and he has a super team, per se. Like, he's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, and they have an elite defense. He has a Super Bowl team around him. All 22 starters that coming into the season were on the Super Bowl team last year. So I think it's hard to say that you can't keep Brady out of your top 5. But I think the fact that he has that high-powered of a team is the reason why he's 4. At number 3, I have Derek Carr. He's the league leading in passing yards. He has his team 3-0. Very well could be 4-0 in a very good game against the Chargers this week. He's the number 3 MVP candidate right now. But the thing that's holding him back is he played I said it last week, he played very, very bad that first half against the Ravens, and he had some issues this week against the Dolphins, especially in that second half. So I can't put Derek Carr up there, but Derek Carr's another guy who, if Derek Carr could be on this list the entire year, I think a lot of these guys could be. I think that it's going to be these 5 guys, Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert, are kind of going to be the top tier of this list the remainder of the season. Maybe throw Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers in, depending on how the season goes, if somebody goes down or something. But those are the 7 guys I think right now are the clear-cut favorites to win MVP. And I think that this list is these top 2 are the clear-cut top 2. Me and Mike talked about it on Wednesday. These are the clear-cut top 2 MVP candidates. And at number 2 is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is playing on maybe the greatest football team ever, and he's showing his full potential. And one thing about MVP that a lot of people don't realize is you have to improve off the way you played last year. If you play just as good as you did last year, you can't win MVP. That's why it's hard to repeat as MVP. Matthew Stafford, though, is playing exceptionally better than last year. He's 6th in the league in yards. He's 2nd in the league in touchdowns. He only has 1 pick. He has the best quarterback rating in the entire NFL. Matthew Stafford is the second best. Sorry, Russell Wilson is the best. Number 2 MVP candidate right now. And the only guy you can put ahead of him is Kyler Murray. And we all know Kyler Murray is my favorite, but Kyler Murray has 3rd in the league in touchdown, 3rd in the league in yards. He's 4th in the league in yards per attempt. 4th highest quarterback rating. And his team is 3-0. And he's the reason his team's 3-0. Like, if you take Kyler Murray out of there, I don't know if I can say the Cardinals are a 3-0 team right now. No, that's another thing with Matthew Stafford. But I think Kyler Murray would have just as much success on the Rams as Matthew Stafford would have on the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray would have more. So that's why I'm putting Kyler Murray as my number 1 MVP candidate. I think Kyler Murray's going to win it. He was my preseason pick. I talked about this last week. I think the only thing that's going to stop Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray. Now we're going to see if Kyler Murray goes down and has a bad game, and Matthew Stafford plays has a great game, and the Rams beat the Cardinals. I'm putting Matthew Stafford 1. I have to. But these are the only 2 guys that should be up for discussion right now, are Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford. I don't think it's close. I think it's Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Brady, Carr, Prescott, Mahomes, and then the rest of the guys I listed earlier. So let's get into my picks for the week. But while I pull those up, I just want to talk about, so I'm going to be doing this thing this week. This weekend, I'm going to be recording my reaction to, not just my reaction, just my day in the life of when I watch football. Just, some other content, something else to watch. I think it'll be cool. A lot of people on my Instagram wanted to see it, so I'm going to do it. That should be out probably Monday or Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. All right, into the picks. Last night I picked the Bengals to win. You can go look at my TikTok for proof. Cole Thompson, Cole Thompson 14 is my TikTok, by the way, so if you want to go follow. So I picked the Bengals to win last night. I think the Bills are going to win this week. I think the Bills got hung up week 1, And I think the Bills they stomp both Washington and Miami, and I think Houston, especially if Davis Mills is starting, they're going to get training. It's going to be a train wreck. They're getting smoked. Okay, I'm picking the Colts over the Dolphins, and for some reason this is viewed as an upset. I don't see it as an upset. I think the Colts are a better team. I think the only reason the Colts are 0-3 is because they have a much harder schedule. I think the Colts with the Dolphins schedule, I think they could be 2-1, maybe even 3. I don't want to say 3-0, but 2-1. The Colts have had a tough schedule. The Dolphins are starting Jacoby Brissett. I think that neither one of these teams have stood out to me this year as one of them is very great at something, but they don't stand out as something that they're very bad at other than staying healthy. But so I went through and I did position by position. Better quarterback, Colts. Better running back, Colts. Receivers, I would say it would be a tie. O-line, Colts. D-line, Colts. Secondary, we can give that to the Dolphins. Where are the Dolphins clear-cut better other than secondary? I mean, the only other place you can argue is receivers. But everything else, the Colts are better. The Colts have a much better running back system. Carson Wentz is better than Jacoby Brissett. They have a much better O-line. I think the only reason the Colts are 0-3 is because they have to play the Seahawks, Rams, and Titans. I don't see the Colts to go, and I don't think the Colts are going to let themselves go to 0-4. I don't know. I was just shocked it was that big of a shocker. That was just the weird part to me. That wasn't even my, per se, upset of the week. Moving on. Titans, Jets. Give me the Titans. Derrick Henry's going to run through the Jets. I feel bad for Jets players. I genuinely do. It's going to be brutal. Derrick Henry is going to, he just makes men look like children. It's kind of disturbing, actually. They need to rate, Derrick Henry's football games need to be rated PG-13. Children should not be watching that. He destroys them. It's absurd. He's going to run through the Jets defense. I don't know if it's going to be close. I'm picking the Broncos over the Ravens. I think the Broncos have the best defense in the NFL. I think we're going to watch a very good game. But after seeing, and I know the Broncos haven't played anybody good yet. They have a combined record of 0-12. Or 0-9. Well, actually, it's 0-10 now. I just don't see. I just think that defense is still the best defense in the league. It's rated number 2, and I think the only reason it's rated number 2 is because they haven't they've pulled their starters towards the end. After watching them last week, they just manhandle. And after watching the Ravens' performance last week, it took a 66-yard NFL record for them to beat the Lions. I'm picking the best defense in the league over them. Raiders, Chargers, Monday Night Football. Another home game for the Raiders, as Derek Carr said. This is going to be a very good game. This is probably going to be I would say this is second or third on my game, on what would be the game of the week for me. But I'm taking the Raiders, man. I'm taking John Gruden's Raiders. I think the Raiders have shocked a lot of people, and I think the Raiders are riding this momentum. I think they're going to ride it for a while. I think it's going to take somebody who's much better than them to beat them. I mean, Derek Carr's playing exceptional, and so is Justin Herbert, but I don't see it slowing down. Now, if the Chargers win, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Chargers don't have a chance. I think the Chargers very well could win this game. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not picking the Raiders. Derek Carr has, like I said, number 1 in yards. He's a top 3 MVP candidate right now. The Raiders' defense has played well. Josh Jacobs has run the ball pretty well when he's been on the field. Their receivers, Hunter Renfrow is playing well. Henry Ruggs is improving. Darren Waller is a top 3 tight end. Their offensive line is hanging in there, helping them out. Give me the Raiders. Chiefs, Eagles. I made the mistake of picking the Eagles last week. The Chiefs are, like I said last week, are loading up the death beam, and I'm really shocked that they lost last week. The Eagles are going to be the sufferers. The Eagles are going to get pounded. They might lose by 100 points. The Chiefs are angry. It's Andy Reid's Andy Reid's coming back to Philly. The Eagles are going to get pounded. We're done talking about that. The Browns are going to beat the Vikings. The Vikings really shocked me last week. They played very well, especially without Dalvin Cook. But I mean, when you have a guy teleporting like Myles Garrett does, literally, like if you blink on that play, for those who haven't seen, I'll play the clip real quick. If you blink on that play, you will miss a grown man teleporting. I don't see, and the Vikings have had a very, very bad offensive line this year. So I think give me the Browns in a defensive showdown. Steelers, Packers. Somebody said the Steelers are going to win. I mean, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers has had one bad game this year. In Green Bay, there's no way. There's no way they lose. There's no way they lose to the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers have looked bad. Me and Mike talked about that. The Steelers have looked bad. That offensive line is bad. They're gonna get that. The Packers defense is gonna rip them apart. And Ben Roethlisberger, he's washed. He's not good anymore. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but they made the mistake of bringing him back. And I know it's hard you don't want to screw over a Hall of Fame quarterback, but the Steelers made a mistake in bringing him back, man. It's tough. Bucks, Patriots. I picked the Bucks to win on my picks. Don't be surprised if the Patriots win. Do not be surprised if the Patriots beat the Bucks. I'm picking the Bucks. But do not be surprised if the Patriots win. It's in Foxborough. Tom Brady's return to Foxborough. Bill Belichick knows everything about Tom Brady. I think it's gonna be interesting. But give me the Bucks. But if I come here on Tuesday or Wednesday and the Patriots win, I told you so. That's all I'm saying. Bears, Lions. Who did I pick? Let me check who I picked in this game, because I might have picked the team that I don't want to pick. I believe I picked the Bears. Give me the Lions. Dan Campbell. I'm taking the Lions. I'm changing my pick. It is currently Friday, October 1st at 1:44 p.m. I'm changing my pick. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Connor. But I'm taking the Lions. Dan Campbell's getting a win. The Bears, they threw for one passing yard last week. And I understand that was the Browns and the Lions. But the Lions are so pissed off right now about losing on a last-second 66-yard field goal. I talk all the time about how Dan Campbell has got these guys right. Give me the Lions are going to go into Soldier Field and win, and Matt Nagy's going to get fired. I'm calling it right now. If the Lions beat the Bears this week, Matt Nagy will be fired. My dad's going to hate me after that one. He's a Bears fan, and he's going to hate me. I got to do it. Panthers, Cowboys. Give me the Panthers. I know I'm not picking this because I'm salty. I'm picking this because the Panthers are 3-0 and have the number 1 rated defense in the league. I'm doing this because I think that the Panthers want to prove that they're not a fraud team, even though they beat the Saints. And yeah, like I said, Ian Book, blah, blah, blah. But I'm taking the Panthers, and I'm looking right now. If I'm looking at it, the Panthers at worst start off 1-7. They're beating the Eagles next week. They're probably beating the Vikings. They're beating the Steelers. They're beating the Falcons. They very well could start off 9-0 and not have it until they play the Cardinals. I think the Panthers are a playoff team. I think we underestimated how good the Panthers are with their weaker schedule. I mean, they have the number 1 rated defense in the league. They're going to get Christian McCaffrey back at some point, and if he stays on the field, they are a clear-cut playoff team. Sam Darnold looked very, very good. Give me the Panthers. Falcons, Washington football team. I'm picking the upset. I'm picking the Falcons because I think Washington's defense has kind of gotten exposed this season, and I still think the Falcons have such a high-powered offense, and Cordell Patterson is playing phenomenal. I'm a little disappointed with Kyle Pitts up to this point, but I still think the Falcons offense will find their groove. They're going to go down in the dome, and they're going to take care of business. Speaking of taking care of business in the dome, this was my suicide pick for the week in my survival pool. I'm picking the Saints. Lock of the week. Lock it in. Saints are beating the Giants. I think the Giants are horrible. I think the Giants are a bottom 3 team in the league. I think Daniel Jones is just bad. Jason Garrett is even worse. I don't know why Jason Garrett hasn't been fired yet. Since Jason Garrett's been the coordinator of the Giants, the Giants' offense is 32nd in the league in yards to go on fourth down, 31st in points per game, 31st in explosive plays, which is 20 yards or more, 30th in points per drive, and 28th in yards per play. He needs to be fired if the Giants ever want to get Daniel Jones figured out. And the Giants need to move on from Daniel Jones. They're another team that need to move on from their quarterback. Steelers and Giants, 2 biggest teams this offseason that need to move on. Seahawks, 49ers, another great game. I'm taking the 49ers, though. I think the Seahawks are going to be a victim of tough games. It's tough they have a tough schedule. They're probably my team that I predicted to make the playoffs that I'm going to have drop out for the Panthers. Give me the 49ers. I think the 49ers are... I think we're seeing a Super Bowl version of the 49ers. Version. I wouldn't say the team, but version. It took an Aaron Rodgers game-winning drive to beat them. The Seahawks look bad against a team that hasn't played well this year. Give me the 49ers. Last one, Rams, Cardinals. This is going to be a very good game. I want to pick Kyler Murray to win this game so bad. I want to. But I can't ignore the fact that, like I've been saying it for the last few episodes, give me the team that I think is the most complete team in NFL history. I am taking the Los Angeles Rams. I think we could see a 17-0 Rams team this year. I think we could. I think the Rams are that good. I think that they have a top 2 MVP candidate, a top 5 defense, and they're missing their starting running back, and I still think they're this good. Give me the Rams. But the NFL isn't the only one with some good games this week. Don't forget about college football. And this is what the vlog is going to be mainly focused on because I expect the Eagles to get smacked around. Let's look at some of the big college football games, and I'll talk to you about them. Georgia, Arkansas. Obviously, I want Arkansas to win. I don't think they will. I think Georgia's second best team in the country. I think the only way Georgia misses the playoffs is if they don't win the SEC, their SEC division, or if they get an upset and lose the SEC title. That's the only way. And it sucks that they have to face Bama and that they are in such a loaded conference. But they're also in the weaker division. I think Georgia finds a way to get in. Right now, I said it, I had them 4. I thought that they would end up being 4. I want Bama 1, Penn State 2, Oregon 3, Georgia 4. But I got to take Georgia. I would love to see Arkansas win, especially since I think that they got underestimated a lot when they beat Texas. Everyone's like, "Oh, Arkansas is supposed to be the second worst team in the SEC." They're number 8 in the country right now. They just beat one of the best teams in the SEC and A&M. They need to. I think that they want to earn their respect. So they can beat them. You can win any game. They're still the number 8 team in the country. I'm just not picking them to win. Michigan, Wisconsin. Michigan. I think Wisconsin's offense is not good enough to beat Michigan. I think Michigan is the only time I see Michigan losing is if it's to one of their 3 division rivals, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State. Wisconsin's another victim, like I would talk about some NFL teams, of a tough schedule. But you got to roll with it. They picked the games, and now they're suffering from it. And I think a lot of Wisconsin fans felt very confident heading into this year, especially seeing that they had Penn State week 1. But they got showed up. They got showed up against Notre Dame, even though Graham Mertz threw 2 pick sixes in the fourth quarter. Graham Mertz is horrendous, by the way. I'd bench him. He has played bad. Cincinnati, Notre Dame. I don't know who the favorite is, because consensus favorite is, but I think it's Notre Dame, and I'm taking Cincinnati. Like I said, I think this might be the year that we get a group of 5 team in the college football playoff. I'm taking Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. Alabama, Mississippi. This is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a shootout. These are the top 2 Heisman candidates right now, Matt Corral and Bryce Young. I'm taking Alabama, though. I think Alabama is still the clear-cut number 1 team in the country. I think it's hard to dispute that at this point because we haven't seen evidence of anything else. But if Bama loses, the college football world is going to be in a storm because how that's going to diminish. The SEC is not only going to be in a storm because then Ole Miss has the pathway to win the SEC, their SEC division. But Bama, Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, all down. Oklahoma struggling. There's going to be some new teams in the playoffs this year that we haven't seen before. And Oregon has made the playoff the first year, but I think they'll get back. And I very well see if Ole Miss wins this week, the college football world is going to be in a flame, and I'm excited for it. Because I'm a fan of one of those teams that's not in the big group that always makes the playoff. Not one of the they're a powerhouse school, but they're not one of the powerhouses. They're not a Bama, they're not a Clemson, they're not an Ohio State. And it's the year of those teams, that the Power 5 teams that are usually top 15, it's time for some of them to get in. And I'm very excited because this also, I think this is going to be big. Now, I think that the decision is going to come down to money. That's why they're going to move to 12. They're going to expand the playoff to 12. But also, this is going to bring up the argument, whoa. Oregon, Penn State, Ole Miss, Cincinnati playoff? First of all, I don't think any 4 of those teams are that much better than each other. I think those 4 teams are right around each other. And I think that would be amazing games. And it would be like, well, see, a group of 5 team got in. This team, the non-traditional schools, they can find a way in the playoff too. So I think that's going to be big. Last game I want to talk about, Oklahoma and Kansas State. I'm taking Kansas State. This is my upset of the week. Oklahoma has not looked good this season. If a few things go differently, they're 0-3. Spencer Rattler has struggled. I don't think Spencer Rattler is the Heisman candidate we thought he was, or the first-round draft pick we thought he was. I'm taking K-State. K-State did it last year. K-State did it the year before. Give me them doing it again. So before we go, I talked about baseball to start it off. I'm going to talk about baseball to end it off. I'm going to go through this weekend the AL, who I think makes the playoffs out of the AL based off this weekend, because it's a big weekend. I mean, the NL is completely locked in. I think the only thing that's up for grabs is who's the 1 and who's the 4, but I think the Giants are going to end up being the 1 and the Dodgers will be the 4. I think the Mets are going to split with Washington. I think they'll win tonight or win on Saturday. I don't think they win both. Or not the Mets, the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are on a downfall like they were in 2011. They just lost to the worst team in baseball 2 out of 3 times. I think that I think that God's on the Mariners' side. I think that fate is on the Mariners' side. I think the Mariners find a way in. With that being said, though, I mean, the Mariners get the Angels, so the Mariners could definitely find a way in. I want to see the Mariners in, too, because, I want to cheer for the underdogs. I want to cheer for the cricket club. Get it? Because I hate the crickets there. I'm not very good at jokes. But I think the Mariners, I think they take both against on Friday and Saturday against the Angels. I mean, yeah, the Blue Jays still have a shot then. That's the thing. I think the Blue Jays take care of business against the Orioles. I think they sweep the Orioles. Give me the Blue Jays in a sweep against the Orioles. Give me the Mariners. This is tough, man. I don't think the Mariners can sweep them. I don't think the Mariners can sweep the Angels. I don't. It's tough. I don't think they can. I think the Red Sox take the Sunday game, which would leave us in a 3-way tie for that last wild card spot between the Mariners, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays, which the Red Sox would get in. And the Mariners would miss the playoffs. I mean, if it goes down to a game 163, that'd be awesome too, because those are always great. I was hoping the Phillies at least got to one of those this year, but they didn't. The Mariners are hitting the baseball and pitching at such a high level right now. I think if the Mariners get in, they're going to be dangerous. I think that they can beat the Yankees. I think that they can threaten the Rays. They're going to be dangerous. Like, this team it's all about belief for them. That's all they're, like, it's all about belief for them. So if the Mariners get in the playoffs, watch out. They're going to be dangerous. They're going to be very dangerous. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Sports Raid with Cole Thompson. Thank you guys for listening. This one was a little bit shorter. Kind of got to everything. There wasn't as much going on. I hope you guys enjoy a great weekend of football. I'm very excited for it. Also a great weekend of baseball. Basketball and hockey are right around the corner. It's the best time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.